Hannah Anderson was kidnapped by a family friend, so to speak, who killed the mother and brother in a savage way. Joining my panel as well is Andrew Spanswick. He is a mental health expert and a close friend at one time of James Dimaggio. And I think, Andrew, you maybe have changed your opinion about him, and I'm curious on your reaction to the autopsy report, the brutality of these deaths.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I've changed my opinion. I'm still very curious as to everything that had happened. It's just one of these cases that just keeps going on, and the sensationalism by the Sheriff's Department is a little disturbing. Most importantly, I think we need to really understand what happened. The perpetrators' families are ignored in these situations, and we're talking about trying to break a cycle of violence. We have all these things happening in society, and nobody's doing anything about trying to figure out really why these things happen and what we can do about them.
Oh, Crystal, I thought you'd like to chew on that a little bit. So I think I'll let you ask Andrew a question, but I think what he's saying is that we have disturbed family systems, the children are being traumatized, and perhaps James is an expression of that later in adulthood.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's very clear.
Crystal?
Yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but Andrew, I don't understand. What do you mean exactly by, you said that the police are mischaracterizing what happened? I mean, the evidence shows that he brutalized the mom. He had an inordinate, I mean, he killed two people. He killed the mother and he killed the son. Then he blew up the house. Then he shot the dog, duct tape on the mouth. I'm trying to understand what do you mean exactly by this has been mischaracterizing? You don't really know what's happened.
Yeah, look, if you go back from the beginning of this case, he was originally labeled a pedophile. There's been no evidence reported of that.
Well, it looks like he was.
Look, the only person that really knows what happened is probably Hannah Anderson.
Right, but I have another question for you. You're a mental health expert, real quick, and then I'll let you finish.
Sure.
You're a mental health expert. Would you think if you're treating somebody, you've been friends with Dimaggio for a long time, you think it's normal for a single man of his age in his 40s to want to take a teenage girl who was 16 on road trips without any other adult? I just want to ask you, if you were treating somebody like that, what would your recommendation be?
Well, I deal with a lot of things that aren't normal. In fact, most things aren't normal. The concept of normality is sort of a ridiculous concept. The gym that I knew, didn't have these types of behaviors evident. And, I've treated people that have. Often people with trauma, and Jim had a lot of trauma growing up, they might stuff those feelings and stuff that trauma.
Wait. You just said the gym that you know didn't have these issues, but the gym that you know and we've come to know was taking Hannah on extended trips with overnights. Why was he so interested in alone time with a teenage girl?
I mean, you're not answering the question.
I think if you really knew the situation, if you knew about how Jim repeatedly had taken on a fatherly role,
it doesn't matter. He's not her father. Hold on.
Hang on.
But his father was absent. His father was absent.
Deneen, everybody, hang up for a second. Yeah. Casey, I want to get you and then Deneen. Casey, go ahead if you have a question to sort of clarify this further.
Andrew, do you think that it's possible that Jim, in his fatherly role with Hannah, actually became an ephebophile, isolated to her, very situation specific, all right? And that he fell in love with or got a crush on this girl because he felt like he could rescue her from her family issues.
And
people with trauma often become rescuers.
Define the ephebophile for us.
Well, it's different than a pedophile, but you've got late adolescents, usually age 14 to 18 years old. They look as adults. Right. So the lines become blurred between adults and teenagers.
First of all, the pedophile versus statutory rape, I think that's, a different issue, and that's criminal justice, not really, we're talking about, if you're talking about psychological versus criminal justice, that's a different deal. Look,
do you think he was an ephebophile with Hannah? That's the question.
Only Hannah Anderson knows that. The fact that she hasn't reported any sexual interaction between him and Jim, I find very interesting.
Fair enough. Deneen?
Why does she have to report it?
And as far as the fatherly role, was it just with her? Because I'm seeing that he was spending a lot of time at her gymnastics practices and all day long with her cheerleading, but he never seemed to go to Ethan's football practices. So I'm just wondering, was it just her he was the father of, or? Was he the father of both of them? I mean, the fatherly role of both of them.
You know, it's very interesting that you're all such experts in James Dimaggio's behavior. The reality is that he took on a fatherly role for all of the family, including the mother and the father himself. Brent thought for a long time, and he was in disbelief even when this case broke. That,
So
Jim
Andrew,
could have done this.
we're getting where you're going. Hang on, but how do you understand this? Help us. We're trying to understand this. I'm out of time. I'm going to give Andrew the floor for a second. Help us understand it.
Clearly, we're all trying to understand this, and I think that it's something
you're
that's...
trying to understand it.
Well, let him talk. Let him talk. Andrew, go ahead. Finish up.
Look, if I had the answers, I'd have the $1 million question. But the reality is that we haven't had enough information released. We haven't had, and we need more information to get to the bottom of it.
Okay. Well, but listen, he's right in that we all remember the family members talking yesterday that they just had this terrible feeling that this was incomplete. The evidence isn't all in yet. The pieces aren't adding up. We can't. Maybe Hannah knows some answers. Maybe somebody's talking to her. We ain't got it yet. We will hopefully soon. Thank you, panel. We're back after this.